And we're back. So glad you could be with us for this half, because I got to tell you something. You're about to learn something, and I'm learning something. And if I'm learning something at my age, stick around. You're going to see my eyebrows go up and down. Our guests on this one, Gloria Helmuth and Terri Callaway, are with the Centenarians of Oklahoma. Centenarians
of Oklahoma. That's a common mistake that people make, and so you're common.
Well, I'm a commoner. No royalty here at all. First, what are you?
We are an organization that honors people that reach the age of 100, and we try to honor them right at that time. If we don't know about them when they've turned 100, when we do find out about them, then we honor. So we do get to honor some people that are already 103 or 105 or something like that.
Well, I mean,
periodically.
Folks at home are hearing this, and Terri, there aren't that many around, are there?
We think there's about 400 living centenarians in the state of Oklahoma right now. And we currently have just under 300 living centenarians that we've honored. This last year we honored 138, and even during the pandemic we honored 134 the year before. Even we couldn't attend parties, but we would mail out certificates to family members so that they could present them to their centenarian at a birthday party.
Gloria, do you see more people living to reach 100
Yes.
than, say, 10 years ago?
Yes, we do. And it is because of the advances in medical science, by and large. But let me give you an example of when that works the other way. Japan has typically led the way with having the most people that reach the golden age of 100 and well beyond. Until about 15 years ago, and guess what happened that year? That was the year McDonald's moved to Japan. And so their birth rate has been not keeping up, and the centenarian rate has been falling.
Well, we have some centenarians we want to show. And Emily, if you roll the B-roll, and let's take a look at some of these wonderful people that you've honored as we talk further about it. How do you find out about them?
A lot of them are at a facility that has, we've honored someone before at that facility, and they will keep up with us. We have a website, centenariansok.com. People find out about it on that. We have a Facebook page, and we also attend senior living fairs to help promote our organization.
You know, I'm not anywhere close, but I'm headed in that direction. And there's going to come a day that you guys are going to show up on my doorstep. Do you put up banners for folks this way?
No, those are generally done by a family for the party. We provide them with a certificate, a biography, a birthday card, and what we call our little golden Okie pin you'll see on some of these centenarians in their photos. And then we continue to follow up with centenarians with birthday cards and Christmas cards for the rest of their life. As long as they're living, we will stay in touch with them.
You know, Gloria, I mentioned this to you before we started taping. There's an old saying that every time an old one dies, a library burns. People don't understand that. People don't understand when they're 30 or 40 that they're accumulating knowledge of just ordinary things that when they pass is gone forever.
That's right. We had an example of that. When the gathering place turned 100 days old, they asked our organization to find some 100-year-olds to come over, and we had a little celebration at the gathering place. And one of the questions that came up for our centenarians to discuss with young people who were also present was how telephones have changed over the years. Now, I grew up in the era of a wooden box on the wall, and you rolled the dial to get the operator's attention. And the young people of today have no concept of what that is. But it's important for us to keep the past alive.
You know, there was a comedian back in the early 50s who once said, talking about television, I don't understand how in the world they get those square pictures through that round wire. And he was making a joke about it, but there are a lot of folks, even now, who are confused about how that all works.
That's true.
When you're contacted then, and you make an official visit to one who's achieved the rank of truly senior citizen, and earned it, what happens to the paperwork about them later?
Okay. We hold on to it for about 5 years. And then once a year, we gather up all the people who have been gone over 5 years and take it to Oklahoma Historical Society at the building that's adjacent to the Capitol building in Oklahoma City. And their families can go and do research, a genealogy search of some kind perhaps, for their loved ones. And that all those papers are kept in perpetuity there.
I'll tell you something I wish you'd do. Personal favor. We should talk to these folk about recipes, because there are people out there who, first of all, don't know how to boil water, and second, those that do think they have bragging rights. And these wonderful folks can hand you a recipe for things like wilted lettuce or whatever that go back generations that you don't see anymore.
We do ask our centenarians to share with us some words of wisdom, and there's where every once in a while some little tidbit of information that will resonate with us comes out. But they do have something to say, and it is worth listening to what they have.
I think it ought to be a requirement that anybody who has a business should put on staff someone who's at least 90 and glean from their experience, their life experience. Because they would know better than anybody else if it's time to let somebody go, if it's time to bring somebody in and tell them they're now part of the workforce.
That's right.
If it's time to motivate somebody, they more than anyone would understand how to best do it.
And we're still currently honoring a lot of World War II veterans. They're still reaching centenarian age, and we've attended a lot of parties over the last few years for World War II veterans.
I was watching the CBS Sunday Morning this past Sunday, and they had a fellow on who was a Navajo code talker, one of the last of the code talkers. And he made the remark that he had passed, but in the interview he made the remark that they didn't have words in Navajo for ship or aircraft carrier or tank, and they had to come together, the code talkers, and work out things like that. For a tank, they used the word turtle. And first of all, you know, the enemy couldn't understand and never did break it, what they were talking about, but had they talked about it, they would have understood nothing more than, well, I see 4 turtles on the horizon, 4 tanks.
Yeah, that's great.
So, you
Very
know,
good.
that was almost lost. If there's someone, and I understand you have a website and you can go to that website, but if there's somebody who wants to volunteer their time and their talent to helping your organization, what do they need to do?
Well, give us a call. Let us know. We're always looking for people. We have 2 people in Oklahoma City already that help us out, so that we don't drive from Tulsa over to Oklahoma City in order to honor someone. We just tell them about it, and we use modern technology to send the paperwork to them, and they do those in those areas. And for people that are further away, we put the certificate the biographical sketch we've created for them, their golden okie pin, their birthday card, some other literature about how important they are to our society. We put all that in a packet and mail it off to them. But if they're interested in working with our organization, we are headquartered in the Tulsa area, and we're looking for volunteers all the time because it is, there is quite a bit of record keeping that goes into this. The biggest chunk of our work is record keeping.
We have about 2 minutes left. And in that 2-minute period, I'd like to hear from both of you on this. Have you ever had cause to stop and say, wow, I did not know that? With any of the folks you've met?
Everyone.
Yes.
Yes, we're that way with everyone we honor. There is something special about everyone we've ever been privileged to honor.
I recently honored someone and read the biography at her party, but I didn't need to do that because she sat up at the front of the stage and for 20 minutes recited her history and knew everything that she needed to tell us all about herself. And it was so much more enjoyable to hear it from her rather than me just reading something.
Did anybody record it?
Yes, yes, her family members had been recording it the whole time.
You have a button there that says,
Yes, our senior population really enjoys getting to be a golden okie. So this golden okie pin is given to them when they turn 100 years of age, and especially the men, but even the women too, love receiving this. And I usually ask a granddaughter to pin it on grandmother, so it just goes up, and now they are part of the best generation of people we have had.
you're certainly right about that. One quick thought, have you ever hit anybody that just didn't want to fool with you and said, if you're here to steal something, help yourself?
Yes.
Yes, we have.
That's going to be me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, thank you both for taking the time, which is really what we're talking about here, but taking time to visit with us and perhaps give thought to coming back down the road.
Well, we'd love to.
We'd
Thank
love
you
to
for
have you.
inviting us.
We're all out of time. Thank you for being a part of it.
Thank you, Sam.
That's all the time we have for this edition of Perspectives. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.